What's today's date?
2nd.
Right, so it's March 2nd. We are on our way to the University of Delaware. I believe that's where we're going. And we're on our way to do an interview and record our 21st episode of Good Soup After Dark. We are going to interview a radio host of, I believe the show is called Late Night Grind. One of the hosts, his name is John Tees. He reached out to us not too long ago. He just wanted to do an interview and kind of talk about what he does. And that's what we're on our way to do. How's your day been going so far, Marie?
Pretty good. Kind of excited to record this. How I understand there's multiple hosts, and we'll see how the first interview goes, and if it goes pretty well, maybe we can interview other hosts. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. But how's the podcast been going for you so far? Right now I'm in the middle of editing your episode with Tony Holland. She's an artist out of New York that we met, I guess, a couple of years back. And you don't do too many you don't sit down for too many of the interviews. You're usually behind the cameras. So, whenever you get in front of the camera, it's kind of nice. But, how are you feeling about the whole, podcast experience so far with your role in it?
I liked to be more in front of the camera, but also I'm really afraid because sometimes I feel like I'm not capable to ask correct question, but I think my language skills doesn't let me to ask question how I hear it in my head. But you're gonna learn. So maybe in the future I'm gonna have more episodes that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with my silly questions that I usually ask.
I think you're a little too hard on yourself. I think people understand you just fine. And I think the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. You just kind of have to get through the stages of not feeling so good at it. I don't feel like I'm good at this at all. Still, how many interviews have you done?
I think 3.
So 3. So that means including this one, would be 18. And I still don't feel like I'm that great. I'm still trying to figure it out. Just kind of want to figure out the rest of the stuff that we're doing. Last night we did an open mic. We went to an open mic and took some footage there. Do you want to talk about that at all?
I want to come back to the first topic we're talking and add a little bit. I don't think that I'm not capable to asking questions or people don't understand me. People understand me, right? But if it's gonna be Russian or Ukrainian, I probably can handle it much better than in English. I think that's the main issue that I have, because my language skills doesn't let me ask the questions because I just don't know correct words. The good thing I can do, I can prepare the questions before, just translate them. But sometimes questions just come out during the interview, so you need to be linguistically skilled to build the sentence and sounds good. Not only for people understand you, but you must sound good also. It's one of the main things that interviewer must be known by. Clean questions. Sometimes you can trick the question, but you need to be skilled to do that. It depends on the interviewer, of course. So that's what I want to add. But if we come back to your question,
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
She said she's worried about how she comes off and doesn't think she asks questions correctly, but then uses a word like linguistically.
I think it's just international word.
I think you need to give yourself a little more credit than you actually are. I think getting caught up and being worried about it is just going to hold you back. I think you do a really good job. And yes, sometimes for sure you do struggle trying to find the right words. But I think like people are more patient than what you understand. And I think that you understand a little bit more than you give yourself credit for.
Thank you. Now I come back to your question about open mic yesterday, what we record. Must tell you that was something. I really like the energy.
We should say where it was or who it was with.
Yeah.
Slim Dizzle Productions. Slim reached out to us, I think maybe like a couple weeks ago at this point, and he reached out about doing the podcast, which, look out for that in the future. Yeah, he kind of reached out to us about that and extended a media pass to attend his event last night. That's where we were. It was in the Creative Center for the Arts, I believe. If I get it wrong, I'll just put it on the screen. But it's over in Delaware. I forgot the name of the town. I'll just put it on the screen. But yeah, we drove out there last night, and it was kind of like in this old school and an auditorium type of situation with like a big stage.
It's literally old school, not old school. It's old school.
Right. But what were you saying?
Yeah, I was impressed by energy that people driving there. It was cool. Really a lot of performances. Tell me, correct me if I say something. It's like 23? 26, 21?
When I texted him, he said there was 23 people set to perform and counting. We only stayed for 17. It was kind of a bit of a drive to get out there. Like I said, it was like outside of Wilmington, outside of Newark. It was kind of like in the sticks a little bit. So it was a little bit over an hour to get there and back. So we left a little bit early. I just went through some of the footage, most of the footage today. 17 of the performers we got footage of. Yeah, it was a lot of people. It was a pretty big, loud show. Thankfully, we had hearing protection. We always try to stay prepared with that. My ears especially are not what they used to be, and without hearing protection in those situations, I'm usually coming home with like a throbbing headache and like feeling kind of sick. So yeah, we've just been kind of good about using that whenever we partake or attend those kind of events. But yeah, it was kind of high energy. It was a lot of younger people, like my old ass 33. It's a lot of younger kids. It was a lot of younger people. But yeah, it was a good time. I thought it was pretty cool, and we saw like quite a few people that we knew already. Being that we're out in like Delaware a lot too. Seems like we got some recognition from a few of the people, like just based off of what we do with like the podcast and like the other events that we cover. And we spoke about this a little bit last night on the way home, but like, how did it feel kind of being for you? And maybe I'll talk about me afterwards, but like, some people kind of recognize who you are, right? Like, how did that feel?
Because I am consider myself as a friendly person, and sometimes people can say hello, and I find out that in America, like, everyone say hello to each other, even if they don't know each other. I try to be friendly, and I always say hi and whatever. How are you doing? But at this moment, in this particular situation, not a moment, but in this particular situation, it was like people recognize me and just like, oh, hi, nice to see you. And I'm like, oh, maybe my memory just like forget someone, or maybe I seen these people and just not really like pay attention, or well, usually I remember the faces, but sometimes there was like yesterday there was, oh, I can't see anything. How you can see anything? The people I probably never seen, and they just like, hi, and I'm like, okay, it's cool. It feels weird, but whatever I heard about recognition by anyone, like TikTok people or YouTube people, it feels weird that people know you, but you don't know them. It doesn't feel bad. It also feels like so sweet. You know what I mean? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool because like I probably said before, like I manage most of the pages, like for Good Soup Productions and Good Soup After Dark. So like I'll have a lot of conversations through those profiles with people. So like I recognize like a lot of people, and like, you know, I'll say like hi to a bunch of people, and they're like, oh, like it's nice to see you in person this time. Like one woman came up to me, and I guess like towards the end of the time we were there, she said, oh my God, I recognize you. You're the guy from the podcast. And like, I didn't remember her name at the moment, but I was just like, I remember messaging you. Like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm the guy from the podcast, and I'm here like waving this camera around. But yeah, it's kind of cool, like making those connections online, and then just kind of making them in person. Like we try to go out to as much as we can. You know, like unfortunately, however you feel about it, like part of this business is you gotta network, you gotta be out there. You can't just be DMing people from like your cave, your lair at home, and then expect to get like any type of real results. And that's kind of like what we're learning in the process. Well, I guess I can speak for me, because like, yeah, it's really easy to like DM people and like make all these plans and stuff. But it's like once you see like the person, you realize, oh, like this is an actual person. Oh, they seem cool in real life. Maybe I can work with them. Like, cause you could just like talk all this stuff, like, yeah, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and then until you finally like, even with like phone calls and stuff, like eventually you want to make that like person-to-person connection. And as people know, there's not a lot of money involved in networking. You don't get paid to network, right? A lot of times you kind of have to pay, whether it's like paying to attend events or like trading work to attend those events. Like this Friday, we're going to be going over to Art Album in Philly, kind of doing the same thing, running around with the cameras, like networking, putting names to faces, like people you interact with a lot online, and just kind of trying to make our presence known. Like, yeah, we do podcasts, like we do a podcast. We do this thing where like you and I are talking with each other. But like, you know, we're also trying to make this a business too, where we're trying to get people in front of our cameras and share their story, or like capture their moments and like try to get paid doing this. So it's just trying to figure out how to like connect what we're doing online to like what we do in real life, and kind of make it stand out as like an actual business. Like, yeah, you can pay us to like do the same thing for you. Like we all want to get paid doing this stuff. Like, there shouldn't be any shame in saying that. And like I said, like networking is fun, but you just don't get paid to do it unless you like host an event for the networking and stuff, and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, it's just trying to like let people know you exist and let people know you do a good job. A lot of the stuff we've done up until this point, like I'll be honest, like it's not paid. You know, like going to these events, covering these events. A lot of times, like we'll get into an event for free, so it's not like we're going there like, oh, we're getting nothing out of it. You know what I mean? Like with this past open mic, this upcoming open mic, like we're trading work, but we're also like we're doing work, but we're also like getting to these events for free and getting access to different artists and just like other prominent people that we wouldn't get otherwise unless we paid. And like, you know what I mean? Like our cameras and our microphones have really kind of, I feel like, opened doors up for us.
It's like universal key.
I think so. So yeah, it's just trying to like, we can figure out how to get into an event, I think, like, and we can apply that to like larger events in the near future, I think, like kind of just leveraging what we do, like, hey, let us in. But it's like trying to figure out, okay, how do we switch this, or how do we leverage our access to something that can actually make us money? You know, you can watch all the YouTube videos. You could follow all the Instagram influencers, like all the people with cameras that have their own like social pages and stuff. And you could take their advice, but it's just like okay, so for example, I was listening to this gentleman, John Tees, that we're about to interview. He was on another like YouTube show, like interview show / podcast, Deep Talk, K-Lens, that I've been following for a little bit. And I watched a little bit of it to kind of prepare for this. And they had a discussion about like gatekeepers, right? And like the way the question was posed was like, you know, like if you have access, if you have information to help other people kind of get on your level and beyond, like, should you do it? And understandably, a lot of people can feel like, no, I don't want to do it. I worked hard for this. Why am I going to give away this stuff for free, right? Like, why am I going to put other people on when I had to work to get to the position that I'm in? And like, it's a very real fear. Like, you help somebody out, they get bigger and better than you, and they forget about you, and you kind of feel like a sense of betrayal. But then the other side of it, like they were saying, was like, you know, like, I think he was trying to say, like, he feels like a responsibility that if I'm in this position to help you out, I have to help you out. I think he even got like a little religious about it, like, what would God want you to do? And they were also saying, I forgot who brought it up in the conversation, and they were like, well, you can give somebody the recipe, you can tell someone exactly what to do, but then it's kind of up to them to figure out like exactly how to do it. So I guess the point that I was trying to make was like, yeah, you know, like I try to watch videos and read stuff online and like how to leverage what we're doing to actually making business. And it's like, all the information's there. I just haven't figured it out yet. And that's what we're trying to do. Even with like the stuff that we're doing where it's just us talking, kind of developing our own personalities, I don't necessarily want to be like an influencer, you know? Like, but I do want people to know who we are and what we're about. I don't want to just be like, oh, those are the camera people. That's the lady who takes pictures, and that's the guy who takes videos sometimes, you know? Like, I'm hoping by doing this more that it kind of makes us more accessible to people and people would want to work with us. I know that was a mouthful, but how do you feel about that?
Well, if we start from... God, you said a lot.
Yeah.
I have a thought during your speech, but... Not a speech, but you're talking. But I forget already because I don't want to interrupt you. The first thing that comes to my mind is you open good topic about helping someone who in the same position as you. Like the afraid to lose the job and afraid to like make someone get something that you want to get. I understand the fear, but at the same time, I, for example, and tell me what you think about, I, for example, have the thought that if you consistently grow and learn, even if someone gonna be your student, you can teach them how to reach your level at that moment. When they reach that level, you already go forward. And I think in any business, people work, if it's a person who want to grow and build something in like my mom said, in a good business, people don't go away from a good business because they can grow in the business, specifically because their boss consistently grows. So right now, for example, you sales and you sell stuff and you have a manager, right? Sales manager. Then the sales manager became, I don't know, the boss of the shop, and you became sales manager, and now you have a sales under you, and that's the boss of the shop became boss of the, I don't know, the state's shops. Then you became boss of this shop. So you consistently go forward and go forward and go forward. And that's kind of good business build. If your boss consistently grow and you go step by step after them. And the same thing in a regular artistry life, because if you teach someone how to draw until they reach your level, you must go forward, and when they're going to be at your level, you already jump ahead, you already know better, and you can teach them this. And I believe every person in their life need to teach someone to do something. It doesn't matter, it can be students, it can be a people you like, it can be your kids, dogs, whatever. You need to, it's like person need to share their knowledge or ideas. That's how world build. If mathematics, the people who do math, whatever, don't share their knowledge, there is no such a thing. You know what I mean? So everything is like, share. I will teach you how to make it, that you can do that and teach other people how to make it. So yeah, I believe everyone in their life gonna teach someone. What do you think about it?
Yeah, what you said makes sense. I'm not sure what more I could add to that. But yeah.
Question. Because today we're gonna interview the person who radio host. Do you ever think that you can be on radio? Like, do you wanna be just a voice, or you wanna be how to ask that? Do you like to be a video podcast host, or you interesting in to be the radio host?
I'd like to be in front of the camera, I think. Yeah, like I mean, I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing, and then like if that grows into something bigger. But yeah, like more video format. Like some people prefer the radio. Some people don't necessarily want to be seen. They just want to do like audio-based thing, and that's cool. And there's plenty of time and space for that. Radio's been a thing for like over 100+ years. It's an effective tool to reach a lot of people. But as like radio specifically, no, I'd like to do more video. Kind of just what we're doing already, and just kind of build upon that.
I think sometimes people choose the audio format, not only radio, but just in general audio format, because it's much less work. Not in a way like, because when you do the video, you need to worry about sound and about video, about cameras, about lights. In the audio version of a podcast or whatever audio art, you more worry about how it sounds. So you have the, like, if we're talking about technical stuff, you worry only for a sound. So it's like it takes a lot from you, like from your shoulders.
I mean, there's probably definitely a difference with both. Like, not to say that audio is any easier. If anything, it's probably harder because you can't have any dead air. You know, like especially if you're a live radio host. Like a live radio host, like you gotta, like my understanding, because I don't do it, but like anytime you listen to the radio, you don't hear like a, you know what I mean? Like with video, you at least have, I don't want to say like a crutch, but like you could rely on good looking stuff, good looking set. You know, of course, conversations are going to have like natural pauses and people are thinking and stuff. But I feel like with an audio format, you have to be more conscious about that, especially if it's live.
Yeah, but if it's edited.
I mean, if it's edited, then you can edit out anything. But like if you're saying a radio host specifically, radio hosts are usually live. Like, I mean, yeah, you have podcasts that you can edit and stuff, but just, I mean, you still have to worry about dead air. You still have to worry about like making mistakes. Like, just because it's audio doesn't mean it's, I don't think it means it's easier. Like, you gotta be more conscious about the ums, the uhs, you know, messing up what you're saying. Not even live, like even like if it's an edited podcast, like you don't want every other word to be like, you know what I mean?
I think all the radio hosts, it's people who have really, we have like hang tongue. So it's like they're really talkative. They really can consistently talk nonstop. And sometimes, for example, Ukrainian radio, sometimes they are talking and just absolutely random weird thing. It's like any song from Rick and Morty.
People sleeping on the ground, and if it's fun to do, then we're not doing it.
Like a random talking just to cover the dead air when they just need to find something or they wait for someone, because and life, whatever, if it's video or if it's radio, life, it's always stressful because like in a regular life you have moments that someone forgets something need to print something, someone need to go in a restroom, someone want to drink a water, someone coughing, sneezing, and everything. And when it's live, you need to be like prepared and learn how to, especially if you're a host, learn how to hide this stuff. I mean, you can hide the sneeze, but at the same time, you just need to be conscious for not sneezing straight in a microphone. And yeah, I don't say that audio is easier. I mean, in a way, if it's just recorded, it's the same as a video, just without video. You need a good sound, you need a good microphones. You need specific settings on a microphone for it's like sounds good, sounds so you have a depth and you don't have extra sound on the back. You need to worry for people don't drink coffee, don't eat anything sweet, for it doesn't. I don't understand that. Some people like the videos like ASMR with this kind of noises. It's disgusting, but people like it. But when you're on a radio, it's unacceptable. And if I think also really cool show how to work with the microphones and sound and everything, it's voiceover actors who specifically work consistently talking. It must be clean talking without like without it. It's clean talking, good language, inbuilt dictionary inside of the person. They can use the different words, so explain this the same stuff with the different words, because sometimes it's necessary to use different words. So yeah, it's complicated, but at the same time, I think it's really interesting. You once tell me that when I was on the radio, you tell me my voice has changed when I'm talking in the radio. I start talking like a little bit more deep. It's funny.
You sounded like a teacher. Like when you did the radio show the one time. Your voice did change. and I haven't heard it since. And like you've done podcast episodes, but maybe you just felt like, well, I'm on radio, so I'm gonna talk with a radio voice now.
I mean, you
You're
must.
listening to WMARI Morihrih Radio.
Yeah, you must to sound clean. You must to pronounce every letter, for people can understand what did you say.
Well, they thought you said rat soup when you said red soup when you're talking about borscht.
Rat soup, yeah. That's just because my accent. Like I said, it's for me specifically.
I knew
It
what you
doesn't
said.
work. It doesn't work at all.
I knew what you said.
Because I have sometimes there's many words that American English speaker, whatever, they hear the difference that I didn't hear the difference. Man and man, like man and plural man. What's the difference between those words? None.
A and E.
How do you say that?
Man and men.
It's all the same.
So think like the name Anne. That's man. And then think the name like Ken. Men. Ken.
It's all the same. For me, it's, I know you hear the difference. I didn't hear the difference. And I also can say mices. But mice, it's plural of meat, mice, mouse. Ugh, it's so much different stuff.
What's plural for goose?
Geese,
What's plural for moose?
moose. I think
Meese.
meese.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not meese.
It's not mooses. It's moose.
It's mooses. Lots of mooses. I hear everyone say like fish, plural fish. But if it's different types of fish,
Then
it's
fish.
fishes.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
English is actually really interesting. There's like a lot of stuff you just like, why? But sometimes you're just like, oh, there's just, there's no other reason, just like because. So, yeah. Like I said, to being a good radio host, you need to know the language you talk. You must to talk pretty clear and pronounce all letters and stuff. So, yeah. No random noises like
I kind of wonder how much we're picking up in the background now. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it in post.
oh, we'll see. Yeah, probably it's so sensitive, right?
Yeah, I should have knocked it down a little bit, but that's fine. It'll be fine. We're open thinking. This is like a real life experience, man. We're in the car, we're driving to the thing. It's us in the open road, and it's real. So if there's a little background noise, who cares? I'll try to clean it up a little bit, and if it doesn't work that fine, who cares? We at least have a mic. We could be using the camera mic, and it could sound like total doo-doo. So we're thoughtful, at least. And that's another thing with radio, or like just the audio format. You gotta have that, like, crystal clear. Like, at least with video, we can get away with, like, it's a video. Like, we look interesting. Look at my red hat. At my yellow glasses. I have no personality. But, like, if it's just audio and you just hearing this, like, no one wants to hear a car trip. Or, I don't know.
I actually fall asleep if I hear the like, not a train, but I fall asleep in the trains, like I fall asleep. And main reason why, because I grow up, my parents both work on a railway, like different types of railway. My mom work in financial, or she's worked later, work in the financial part, but she work in a railway. I think she started working as a person who built the railway, like she built the not put the like railway, but she built the constructional way. So she just count, because every turn you need to like specifically cut the, like you see, I don't know English. I know how it's called in Russian. Rail. You need to cut the rail, but it's like really, really long, and you need specifically cut it and specifically bend it. And there's people who do that and count how it must be and where, because when you put this together, it must stay straight. And actually, this sound in a train is that you hear every. It's the touching two rails connected, and it have a little gap, and it's make this noise. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I like the railway. It was the specific smell on the railway station. If you know, you know. That's remind me of my childhood.
Orange drink, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah.
Dry ham sandwiches. Jenny from the block, yo. Jago from the block. I, too, didn't know how to speak Spanish growing up.
And you're really good dancer.
I'm a terrible dancer.
How is it like perfect dive, horrible swim?
I'm a bad diver, but a better swimmer.
I'm worst in both. I'm a best of the worst.
When I was on the swim team, I tried to dive off the board, and I just like landed on my stomach and never did it again. Indeed.
No, I'm never. I like to be in the water. I don't know how to swim. I once almost drowned in a river. No, this wasn't a river. I don't know. Was it a river? No, it was a sea. It was like a little gap with a fast stream, and I go pretty deep, and I'm not expected that stream like pick me up. I was really big. She pick me up and start to move me, and it doesn't like that I usually do when I feel like I'm gonna drown. I just relax and pretend like I'm a sea star. Yeah, and in that moment, one of the guys from a school, not from my class, but from a school, like saved my life, because he like good swimming, good, and he just like picked me up like this and just like that was kind of scary, honestly. So no, I don't know how to swim. I learned how to ride bicycle when I was 18, and I'm sure I know how to ride it, but the turns is God. So yeah, and because I live in an apartment almost all my life, I never had the bicycle. Like when you go down the street and just ride the bicycle, whatever, anytime you want. For me, I never had the bicycle. I'm upset about it. Do you had a bicycle?
Growing up, no.
After?
I got my first bicycle when I was 21. I learned how to ride a bike when I was 14. But I didn't get my first bicycle until I was 21. And I bought it myself.
That's cool.
It was cool. But when I moved to Virginia and my brother lived with me, he used it for work, and like he didn't do anything wrong. He locked it up like he was supposed to. But someone came with bolt cutters and a shopping cart. Like we got the footage from the grocery store he worked at. Someone came with bolt cutters and a shopping cart, cut the lock, put the bicycle in a shopping cart, and walked away. And I remember like being so mad, I was yelling at him, and he was like, "I locked it up. You saw it." I'm like, "I know, but I need someone to yell at." So my first bike was stolen.
That's like, who need bike? Why you need a bike?
But he came prepared. Like, that's a crazy thing. Like, he didn't even ride it away. And, like, people walked by him and they're just like, whatever. Like, he cut the lock, put it in a shopping cart, and pushed it away.
I want to say joke, but I don't. I mean, crazy people everywhere, right?
Yeah, he did not look well.
Yeah, no. And my parents have like an old bicycle, and it's like folded. You can fold him bicycle and then open up. Because I live in an apartment, we don't have a space for a bicycle, and it was like really old. And my mom know how to ride bicycle. My granny know, my grandpa know, and nobody's teach me. But yeah. And I learned when I was in an institute in a different city, and one of the girls, she ride bicycle to the university because it's like walkable, but much faster if you use the bicycle. Yeah, she's let me drive it, and I break a mirror accidentally. I just fall. There was a little gap was in the road, and I just like this. And I fall into the puddle, and I sitting with a wet butt because, you know, roads. Not every road can be like clean. There's some roads that are bumpy. But yeah, I look that people sometimes have electric bicycles. It's really cool. Like, you can just ride it, and when it's uncharged, you can just move your legs a little bit. It's kind of cool. So it's like you can use it even. It's like, but only one thing, it's really heavy. It's much heavier than regular bicycle. I know you use bicycle, or you use I forget. In a Canada, you use something.
It was an electric scooter. Like the one you stand on.
Oh, okay.
That was fun. But hey, we are almost there. We're about 5 minutes out. And I think this is the one we went to with Nick. University of Delaware.
Okay.
So we might know where we are, but we are about like 5-6 minutes out. And yeah, about to do an interview. Hopefully it goes well. How are you feeling after this little talk?
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Awesome. So, thank you for joining this ride with us. And we will catch you on another one soon. And keep a lookout for this podcast and other ones that we're putting out in the near future, guys. And yeah, you got anything you want to say before we close out?
Bye.